Kyle Shanahan really blurs the line between friendship and leadership. Bill Walsh didn't. Bill Walsh was a leader. He was not your friend. He was your friend when he didn't have to be your leader anymore. He was never both. But Kyle's both. Kyle is not coach. He's Kyle. He goes and hangs out with them on the road, on vacation. They throw footballs together. It's like he's one of them. But then he's not. And I wonder, it's great. Like, I think what he would say is he's made it so if Jed ever fired him, he's got 6 or 7 of the best players on the team that would go to Jed immediately and be like, hey, well, you better get rid of us too, because that's the only guy I want to play for, because of that loyalty to him. That's a great thing for his job security. But he's gone so far that when he brought in Trey Lance and wanted to play Trey Lance, it seemed like the players that he's friends with were like, no, we like Jimmy. And Kyle was like, okay, I guess it's a democracy then.
And it's not a democracy. It's an autocracy. It's an autocracy.
Yeah. But that's not how the Niners function. Sorry, go ahead.
No, and I'll tell you one other thing. Let's say he does have certain players that he favors and he socializes with. Again, Iggy, I'm not there and you're not socializing, so this is what we've heard. But let's say it's true. It means there's 2 teams. Yeah. It means there's the regular team and the preferred team, right? The A-list team. Well, it's not good to have 2 teams because it's one team. It's one team. You could even say it's 2 teams. It's offense and defense. No. They're on the same team, and they support each other. So the idea of having some more equal than others could lead to trouble, and may already have led to trouble with the quarterbacks, and is not a good management style.
When I was at the annual meetings a few weeks ago, the week before then, I had written on Twitter, like, Kyle Shanahan's a bad leader. And we had talked about that on our channel. We did a whole thing about why Kyle's not a leader, and you had talked about that Marine that you would talk to. Someone from the organization came up to me. Someone from, I'm not going to say who, came up to me at those meetings and said, man, what are you talking about with Kyle Shanahan not a leader? Like, the players love him. And I said, yeah, but, that's leadership and friendship are not the same thing necessarily. And a lot of times leaders make decisions that are unpopular. That's what I said. And I think that's what makes him so intriguing. He's liked, but does that make him a good leader? I don't know.
Maybe after the show you'll tell me who that was.
I bet you can guess who it was, but yeah, I'll tell you who it was
later. Yeah. But what I take away from that is someone in the organization is paying attention to you.
And what I also take away from that is Kyle's sensitive about this.
And sent an emissary?
Yeah, he's sensitive about this. He knows that he's not a natural leader. His style of leadership is to be friends with the players. And it works for him because he's got allies and he's got, job security, but that's not leadership. It's not. And he knows it.
Hey, I want to come back to Walsh for a minute. Yeah. I don't think he and Seifert really liked each other.
Interesting.
I mean, Let me say, Bill, when he would talk to me about Seifert, he never praised him.
He didn't praise anyone, apparently.
No,
McKittrick and him had beef.
Oh, McKittrick and him was way beyond. There was an active dislike between Bob McKittrick and the active dislike.
It was just icy between him and Seifert.
Well, he used to sometimes criticize him to me.
Well, yeah.
He would say, "Did you see how we managed this game?"
Oh,
right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Seifert took over the team and won his first year.
And I got to tell you, they used to have this thing. This is terrible. The beat writers at the end of every season would have a dinner with the coach. Now it ended. I think it might have ended with Harbaugh or a little before that. Well, I was told that George, when he was the coach, got drunk one night and he did a toast, "Screw Bill Walsh." That's what I was told. Now, I didn't go to those. I didn't feel I deserved it because I was a columnist. But I heard it from more than one person.
Wow.
So I'm saying I don't think they were that friendly. But they worked together.
Yeah. How many people in that organization resented Bill for never praising him over a 10-year span, right? Right? After all the Super Bowls they won together, Bill still couldn't. That'd be interesting.
Then I'll tell you another story because I know people like this. It's a Dwight Clark story. After poor Dwight died, they had the big memorial for him in the city. And Eddie is a very good public speaker. So At one point, he gave Dwight a big raise. The salaries were different then, to $500,000 a season, and apparently Carmen went nuts. Carmen Policy, are you breaking up my salary structure? He isn't worth it, and all that. And when it was all over, Dwight wrote a letter to Eddie, and he said, "Thanks, $500,000." That's what
great.
Eddie's. It's great. That's what Eddie said at the memorial. Eddie, thanks $500,000. Don't you love it?
Line. That's a great line. Really cool.
Yeah.
Rod Simmons says, Grant, liked your philosophy last season that the Niners would play the role of the 72 Dolphins. If Trey returns, will you revisit that? I mean, if Trey returns, I do think they should be handing off most of the time, but I also feel like I don't think you can win a Super Bowl the way the 72 Dolphins won it, where you run for 3,000 yards and play defense. I think you got to pass today at some point. So hopefully they can do that with someone at some point on this team.